Hey there. So, we all have a bank account, right? It's where the paycheck goes, where we pay our bills, maybe try to stash a little cash for later. And we kind of trust that our money is just sitting there, safe and sound. But what if I told you that's not the whole story? Not even close. Let's get right into it and pull back the curtain on the banking illusion.
So let's just start with the biggest question, the one that probably got you to tune in. Is your money really safe in the bank? And I'm not just talking about being safe from, old school bank robbers. I mean safe from something much, much sneakier. Something you can't even see. See, most of us have this picture in our heads, right? Our money is tucked away in some high-tech digital vault, just waiting for us. But the reality? Oh, it's way more interesting than that. Your money is never, ever sitting still. It's an asset, a tool that's constantly being put to work. The real question is, who is it working for? To really get what's going on, we have to start with a force that's acting on every single dollar you have, whether it's in a bank or stuffed under your mattress. Let's talk about your shrinking savings. Yep, you heard that right. Even if you're the best saver in the world and you don't spend a single dime, the actual value of your money is probably going down every single day. It's this silent threat, people call it inflation, but it's way easier to just think of it as your money slowly losing its superpowers. Let's make this real with a super simple price tag test. Think back about a decade ago, 2016. A basic Netflix subscription was what? About 10 bucks. Now, fast forward to today, and it's nearly 20. The service? Pretty much the same, but the number of dollars you need to get it has literally doubled. Think about it this way. That same $10 bill that got you a whole month of Netflix back then now only gets you about half a month. Your money's purchasing power just for that one thing has been chopped in half. That's a 50% loss in value. And all you did was let it sit there. Okay, so we know your cash is losing value all on its own. But believe it or not, that's only half the story. Now we get to the really juicy part, the bank's real business. And spoiler alert, it has very little to do with just storing your money. I want you to just let that one sink in for a second. Your account isn't a box, it's capital. It's the raw material the bank uses to build its entire business. I mean, that one idea completely flips the script on your relationship with your bank. You're not just a customer. You're basically an investor, and you probably didn't even know it. And here's the bottom line. A bank's main job isn't to be a security guard for your cash. It's to leverage it. They take the money you deposit, your hard-earned savings, and use it to generate massive profits for themselves. You get what? A tiny sliver of interest back, while they get to put the whole pile to work. Right about now, you're probably asking, okay, wait, how? How do they actually do that? And is that even legal? Well, the answer to both questions is yes. And it all comes down to the very foundation of our entire modern banking system. It's a system called fractional reserve banking. Now, the name sounds super complicated, but the idea is actually pretty simple. For every dollar you deposit, the bank is only required by law to keep a tiny piece of it on hand. That's the reserve. And the rest of it? Well, they're free to lend it out to other people. Okay, this is where it gets a little wild. Let's just walk through it. Say you deposit $1,000. The bank, let's say it has a 10% reserve requirement, holds on to 100 of your dollars. Then, it lends out the other $900 to someone who needs a loan. Now here's the magic trick. That person takes the $900 and deposits it into their bank. All of a sudden, the system sees your original $1,000 plus this new $900 deposit. And this cycle, this lending and redepositing, is what fuels the economy. It's where the money for mortgages and car loans and new businesses comes from. Your single deposit just helped, poof, create brand new money in the system. All right, let's step back for a second and put all these pieces together. We've talked about the silent decay of your money's value, and we've seen the very active system that uses your deposits to make more money. This isn't some big conspiracy theory, it's just the new reality of how money actually works. So, what have we really uncovered here? Well, first, your cash is not just sitting there. Its real-world value is constantly getting chipped away, meaning it buys less tomorrow than it does today. Second, banks aren't warehouses for money. They're businesses that use your deposits as capital to fund loans and make a profit for themselves. And that leads to the third and biggest point. Your savings are never on the sidelines. They are an active, working part of the global financial system every single day. Now look, the point of all this isn't to scare you or tell you to run out and pull all your money from the bank. Not at all. It's to arm you with knowledge. Because the financial system, it's a game. A massive game with a very specific set of rules. For a long, long time, most of us have been playing without even knowing what those rules are. But now, you do, so the only question left is, how are you going to play? You know that feeling, right? You log into your bank account, you see your balance, and you think, okay, I'm good, I'm safe. But what if I told you that every single second that money just sits there, it's actually shrinking? Yeah, there's a silent wealth killer at work, and today we're going to drag it right out into the light. So let's just ask the question straight up. Is your money really safe in the bank? Sure, the number you see on the screen probably isn't going down, but the power of that number, what it can actually buy you, that is quietly slipping away day by day. I want you to think of your savings account as a leaky bucket. It's a great analogy. You keep pouring your hard-earned money in, but there's this slow, steady drip, drip, drip that's draining its value. Our job today, we're going to find that leak and show you exactly how to plug the holes. And that gets us right into this whole myth of safe money. That balance you see on your statement, it is not the whole story, not even close. The real story is about your purchasing power and how, without you even noticing, it's shrinking. Now, the culprit has a name: inflation. And here's the thing you've got to get about it. Inflation isn't just about prices going up at the grocery store. That's just the symptom. The real disease is that the value of your currency, of your dollar, is going down. Every single dollar you have buys a little bit less today than it did yesterday.
Let's make this real, okay? Think back about 10 years. $50 might have filled your entire shopping cart for the week. No problem. But today, that exact same $50 bill, well, it might only get you half a cart of the same stuff. The number on the bill hasn't changed, but what it can actually do for you has been slashed.
So, you might be wondering, how bad is this leak really? Well, let's get into the simple and honestly kind of shocking math behind what's happening to your savings right now. Okay, so first up, we have the leak itself. Let's just say, for example, that the current inflation rate is 4%. What that means is, on average, the purchasing power of your money is dropping by 4% every single year. Now, on the other hand, let's look at what the bank is paying you to keep your money with them. A pretty typical savings account might offer you an interest rate of, what, maybe 1%? It feels like you're earning something, right? At least it's not zero. But here's the kicker. This is the part that matters. You're not actually making 1%. Because once you take your 1% interest and you subtract that 4% inflation, well, that's when you see the truth. You are actively losing 3% of your purchasing power every year. Your bucket isn't just leaking, it is hemorrhaging value. And check out what this does over time. It's brutal. Let's say you left 10 grand in that account. After a decade, the account balance, that's the bar on the left, it'll still say you have $10,000. But its actual buying power, what it's worth in the real world, that's the bar on the right, is now closer to just 6 grand. That is a massive silent loss of your wealth. So this begs a huge question, right? If your money is losing value so fast, why on earth don't the banks pay you more to keep it there? Well, the answer is kind of simple, and it all comes down to their business model. Here's the core truth of it, plain and simple. What feels like safety to you is actually the bank's profit margin. Their entire business is built on the gap between what your money earns for them and the tiny little bit they decide to pay you. Okay, let's just break this down. It's pretty straightforward. The banks take your deposits, your money, and they put it to work. They're investing in things like stocks, loans, real estate, you name it. And they're earning a pretty nice return on it, maybe 8 to 10% a year. Now look at that bottom row. What do you get for providing them all the capital to do that? A tiny, tiny fraction of that return. Often it's less than 1%. Okay, enough doom and gloom about the problem. Let's talk about the solution. It is time to stop that leak and take back control of your financial future. And it all starts with a huge shift in how you think about your money. You have to make a mental switch from being just a saver to becoming an owner. The goal is no longer just to pile up cash. The goal is to own assets, to own things that grow in value faster than inflation is eating away at the value of your cash. So what does that look like? Here's a 4-step game plan. First up, step 1. At the absolute minimum, move your emergency cash to a high-yield savings account. Look, it probably won't beat inflation, but it will slow the leak way down. Next, step 2. Invest in the stock market. Historically, it's one of the most reliable ways to actually grow your money faster than inflation.
Step 3 is about owning real assets, like property, things that tend to hold their value when cash doesn't. And finally, step 4, and this might be the most powerful one of all, invest in yourself. Your ability to earn more money is always going to be your greatest shield against inflation.
Now, I know that might sound like a lot all at once, so let's just focus on the single most important, most immediate action you can take, like right after you're done watching this.
Here's a simple challenge for you. Today, right now, I want you to log into your bank account and find the exact interest rate it's paying you. Not a guess. I want you to find the actual number.
And here's your benchmark. Here's how you'll know. If that number starts with 0.0, then congratulations. You've just found the leak in your bucket. And now you know it's time to make a change.
You know, there's a saying that inflation is a tax on the uninformed. It preys on people who don't understand how money really works. But you know what? After today, that's not you anymore. You know about the silent killer. You know how to find the leak. And now you know how to start plugging the holes.